West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, people. Yes. Look at this now. I'm trying. Do you know? Oh my gosh. I'm Machel St. Patrick here at 1/2 the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Yeah, there was some technical flaws in the background. Didn't know what was going on. Was trying to fix them, but we move now. We're here. Let me put I haven't even got the cricket up on the screen. Second session, we're moving. Let me put this cricket up right now. What have I missed? Let me put this cricket on. Okay, so the score is 52, for 1. Very slow going in that first session, I must say. But Australia's session, without a shadow of a doubt. I think, let me clean these glasses. I think if we're being real, across the first session, West Indies bowled about, I've got no evidence for this number that I'm about to pick, but it felt like they bowled about 75% of their deliveries in the right area and wasted about 25%. And the reason why I start with that is when we come round to bat, when it's our turn to bat, I don't think you'll see Australia bowl 25 overs at us without taking at least 3 wickets. So it's a hard one because I'm not being critical of the West Indies. I think largely they've been disciplined and stuck to the task. I think Khawaja, he's currently 18 from 80 balls, but I think he's done his job. Like, if he gets out now, people are like, oh, he only scored 18. But he's seen off the new ball, right? Even Constas, people are cussing, going, oh, we only scored 17, he's out of his depth. But Constas and Khawaja have seen off a lot of that new ball, which will allow the likes of Green, who's only 6 of 37. Obviously, Smith's going to come in, Head will come in, Carey, but Webster. It'll be easier for them to get into their work when they finally come in. So I think Khawaja and Constas have actually done a good job. And yet, like I say, yes, it's been boring and slow, but there's proper test cricket in it. Like, you play the conditions, you play the situation. It doesn't have to be beat ball every single time. So 52 for 1 after 27 overs. It's Australia's day so far. West Indies need not just another wicket. They probably need a batch. They need to have a situation where 1 brings 2. But we shall see. Anyways, Shamar Joseph's into the attack. That one beats the outside edge. So Shamar Joseph is none for 7 from 8.5 overs, which obviously means, yeah, he's been good. But he's also, I think, again, in some of his earlier spells, he sprayed the ball. He didn't challenge the stumps enough. I don't think Shamar challenged the stumps enough. Who has bowled the best out of them? Errol just said earlier on that Alzari just bowled a good over. Good for him. I wouldn't like to say, I think everyone's kind of been like 7 out of 10. No one's been bad. And they've got quite a few. All of them have got at least a few balls to beat the outside edge. But it's one of the difference for me is when Hazelwood and Cummins in particular come to bowl when it's our turn, you know that they're Hazelwood and Cummins, and obviously that's because they're a better bowling attack, but you know that Hazelwood and Cummins are able to get the ball on a spot over after over after over after over. And then the techniques of our batters won't be able to hold out. So that's why I'm looking at the Aussie batting and going, yeah, you've done a good job here. You've survived by whatever means necessary. And you're probably going to cash in at the back end. One thing I do like is this pitch is a bit truer. This pitch is a bit truer. There's runs to be scored on this pitch. If you do the hard graft up front, I think there's runs to be scored on this pitch if you're willing to play like a test match innings that respects the pitch you're playing on. It's not as up and down as the pitch in Barbados and Grenada. The only reason ball's beating the bat is because it's the pink ball for me. It's nothing to do with the pitch per se. Anyways, that one takes off and leaves Cameron Green, Alzari Joseph's new over. Let's get into some of the comments. Neil says, interesting to see how Kevlon does. He's going to get an examination is what he's going to get. Same with Mikhail Louis. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not putting any pressure on Kevin Anderson or Machel Louis to do well. I mean, we've seen Louis already, but the basic understanding should be for both Kevlin and Machel that the likelihood is that they're going to get bowled down or trapped LBW when their time comes, but we'll see. That one skewers the outside edge and finds the gap between point and gully, and Cam Green will get 2 there. Let's try and sort this thing out here. Yeah, Cam Green. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, 2 more for Cam Green. Machel says Shamal wasn't challenging the stumps. Yeah, his first spell, I agree with that. He got better the more overs he bowled, especially the over before tea. Yeah, he was spraying it everywhere in that first spell. He was the worst of the 3, even though his figures look good, 0 for 8 from 8 or whatever it is. He was spraying it all over the place early doors. He wasn't challenging the stumps enough. Jay says, if Craig were to score 18 off 72 like Khawaja, wouldn't we call for him to be dropped? Yeah, but that's because the West Indian fan base is dunce. So, and I'm not getting into some big debate about whether Craig should have been dropped or not, but I will get into a debate about the fact that we have a dunce fan base. We've got the most of all the 4-member Test nations. We have the most dunce fan base. Maybe Pakistan could rival us, but we have a dunce fan base. Do you know how many dunces I have to interact with? Oh, sorry. Do you know how many dunces I have to interact? I can just mute them. But every Caribbean cricket podcast show, if you read the comments onto every show that we do, even in this live when people come back to watch it, look at how many dunce comments we get. Like, people can't spell names. They make points that have no relation to what was said. They argue with themselves. Like, it's pure duncery. I'm pitched up there by Alzari, but driven down the ground past mid-off for 4. Cam Green moves into double figures. Khawaja 18 from 83. Cam Green 12 from 41. Australia 58 for 1. Even in our Twitter handle, I get so many dunce comments on Twitter every single day, just pure duncery. Like, but maybe we're also victims of the age we now live in. Like, you say something or you write something and people don't actually read it. They just take whatever they think it means. Don't ask for any clarification and just start commenting on just duncery. Well, that one takes off and wraps Green on the top splice of the bat, but it goes down. Played it with soft hands, no run. So let's see what's happening here. Yes. So, I mean, let me put the score actually up as well. 82 people in the watch-along. Lots of people have different views about what a watch-along is supposed to be. Like, we watch the match, innit? It's like a watch party. If you're expecting me to, like, put something up on the screen, this is the wrong place to be. Right, Australia. Tries to drive that, catches the outer portion of the bat, no run. Yeah, I'm only going to do this session, people, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this session is so I can stay awake. After this session, I'm trying to work out if I'm going to go to my bed after this session. The third session, what time does this match end UK time? So this will be a 2-hour session. 12 o'clock. So this takes us to about midnight. Then this takes us to about midnight. Then there's 45 minutes for dinner. 12:45. Then this is due to end about 2:30 in the morning. Jaja, no, I'm not staying up. I cannot stay up till 2:30. I can't do it to myself. I cannot do it. No, I'm not doing it. Fireball says, is school out in the UK? No. We've got 1 more week left. Got 1 more week of school. That's why I had to do the watch along to stay awake. I'm tired out here. 31 degrees heat in the UK today. That's why I'm out here in my vest. Just out here in my vest, cuz. Right. 92 of you in the live. Like, share, subscribe. all of that. You know what to do. You know how we do. Usman Khawaja on 18, Green on 12. Green has faced 43 balls. Khawaja has faced 83 balls. We're 29 overs into the match. School, Joe Bob says, when does school start back? Starts back the exact same time as the Caribbean. My first day back is on the 1st of September. So we basically just get August off, like the last week of July and all of August. So yeah, I'm flying to Jamaica in about 7 days to go visit my parents, and I'll take in the T20s against Australia there. So yeah. Bart says, if West Indies play a test series at home versus Pakistan tomorrow, who do you think wins? West Indies. Across 3 tests, I think we could win that 2-1. The days of me thinking Pakistan can come here and beat us are over. Right, Shamar in new over, zips over the outside of off, but left alone by Green. Don't know if that was a good leave. Lydon is joining the live. Big up to Lyndon. Or is it Lyndon? Did I say Lydon? Lyndon, sorry. Yes. Like the live, share the live, subscribe to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. All of that. I'm trying to look at various different things at the same time. I'm going to have to... 1 second, people. So somebody's just sent me a message on if there's any Jamaicans in the chat. In fairness, maybe I've got it wrong, to be fair. So 1 second, I'm just so if there's any Jamaicans in the chat, TC's here. TC, Kingston to North Coast. How many hours? Without traffic, sorry, with traffic. How many hours? Kingston to the North Coast. Sorry, people, I'm going to make a point in a minute. Just waiting to see what TC says here, because either I might be a dunce, so I just need to double check. Well, okay, let's say without. Why is she saying 45? Sorry, TC, let me start again. Kingston to the North Coast without traffic. 2.5 hours, 3 hours? What are you saying? See, well, I just need to clarify something. I'll get back to cricket in a minute, people. The game's slow in it. That's why I'm not looking at the cricket. So this is what I'm about to show you lot social media 101, right? In terms of why it's tiresome on straight and full by is it Shamar Joseph? Anyways, Green meets it with the full face of the bat, driven down the ground. Wait, 45 minutes. Okay, I'm a dunce then. 45 minutes. Yeah, to clarify, sorry. So, sorry. TC said 45 minutes. What on earth? What? Wait, what? To clarify, though, TC, I am talking about Negril. When I say North Coast, I'm talking like Montego Bay up to Negril, right? So, anyways, the point is, let me just explain the story. So, on Twitter, I put a post saying, in fact, TC it's in the Discord as well. So on Twitter, I put a post saying, I've always wondered what overseas visitors do in Jamaica when it comes to cricket at the Sabina Park. Surely they aren't staying in Kingston, but if they're in the North Coast where most tourists go, are they doing the 6-hour round trip each day? Right. And lots of people come back to me going, it doesn't take 6 hours to get from Kingston to the North Coast. And I've been like, no, I'm saying the round trip is 6 hours, right? Let's say you're a tourist and you so right, okay, so TC's making the point here. So my point is, TC, if you're a tourist and you've come from Australia to watch Australia on tour in Jamaica, with respect to Kingston, nobody should come to Jamaica to want to stay in Kingston. I don't stay in Kingston, right? So if you want to see Jamaica and you want to have a good time in Jamaica and you've come all the way from Australia, surely you're not staying in Kingston, right? But then if you do what most tourists do, which is go up to the North Coast, and by North Coast, for clarity, I mean the grill, right? My point that I was trying to make on Twitter was, how are you navigating that on a daily basis? Are you really going to do a 6-hour round trip every day to go and watch cricket at Sabina Park? Bear man have come back to me going, it don't take 6 hours. And I'm like, well, I think it does. Now, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I just think if it takes, so when I was in Jamaica 2 years ago, right? This is why I said 6 hours. When I was in Jamaica 2 years ago, when the last time I went, sorry, everyone's like, what about the cricket match? I'll get to that in a minute. When I was in Jamaica 2 years ago, I landed in Montego Bay. To get from Montego Bay to Mandeville, from Montego Bay to Mandeville took minimum. Wait, so Joe Bob says an hour and 17. Yeah, do you know what? It's because I'm not thinking, maybe I'm not thinking about the highway. Maybe I'm not thinking about the highway. Maybe I'm thinking about the old roads. Maybe I'm thinking about the old roads. I don't know. Maybe because when I got, sorry, let me finish my story. When I got from Montego Bay to Mandeville, it took at least a minimum of an hour, a minimum. Now, bear in mind, Mandeville to Kingston is another hour. That's 2 hours. And then, TC, this is the part that everyone's forgetting. Once you're in Kingston, it's taken anywhere up to 45 minutes to get from one part of Kingston to another part of Kingston. Kingston traffic is rammo. So when I'm saying I think it's long to stay in the North Coast and go to Sabina, it's long, you know. Even if you lot are saying to me, go and speed on the highway, we're talking about tourists, right? In those Juta buses. You think they're speed? You think that, well, they probably are, but you think a Juta bus is speeding on the highway from the grill to Sabina Park? Anyways, I don't know what Joe Bob looks at. Joe Bob says it's an hour and 17 minutes on Google Maps. Joe Bob, was that from Montego Bay to Kingston? The last time I was in Kingston, it took me 40 minutes just to get out of Kingston. To even start to think about reaching motorway, it took about 40 minutes. Now, maybe that's an exaggeration, but I swear to God, it took about 40 minutes to get out of Kingston. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everyone's right and saying Mash 6 hours. 6 hours is too long. Is incorrect. Anyways, we can speak about the semantics of Jamaican travel. Actually, TC, last thing I'll say about Jamaica is the last time I was there, we went to Portland, right? And to go from Mandeville to Portland took it's the first time in all the years I've lived in Jamaica, been to Jamaica, I've never been to Portland. I'm talking about right at the very east of the island, right out. And by the way, people, for those of you who are either Jamaican or maybe you've been to Jamaica, Portland, when I went there last time, reminds me of what Jamaica might have been before tourism came. It feels like Portland feels like tourism hasn't reached there yet. So you still feel like the beautiful essence of Jamaica without all the tourists like sexing up themselves and all of that stuff. But anyways, to get from Mandeville to Portland on the mash-up roads, there were bare roads out in Portland, just pure potholes everywhere. There was one road that we went on near Portland where it was hard. Like my dad was saying, the Chinese had come to fix it and then just stopped doing it. Maybe they hadn't got their money or something. Pure potholes everywhere. Major potholes. That took Mandeville to Portland took definitely over 3 hours, if not more. It was worth getting there, but it was long, boy. It was long. You had to kind of go into we had to try and avoid going near Kingston. I can't remember how we did. We had to go St. Thomas, I think. I can't even remember how. I can't even remember the way we did it. Was it still? I can't even remember. All I know is when I saw that pothole, is that an edge and gone? Gone. Wicket. See? There's me talking about pothole and I finally see a wicket. Who gets that? Number 70 has struck. He's got Khawaja to nick behind to hope. Let's get back to the cricket. Probing that 4th, 5th stump line. And Joseph finally gets one to hold its line. Let's see. Pitched it on a good length. Moves away slightly from Khawaja. Kisses the outside edge and the Gallus, the Galdem Sugar, takes a nice one-handed diving catch behind the stumps. And so it's about to say South Africa, Australia, 68 for 2. We move. There was me talking about potholes. See, all that pothole chat led to us getting a wicket. 68 for 2, breakthrough. Khawaja gone for 23. Khawaja caught Hope, bowled Joseph. Now I missed all the pot. Yeah, Javi says it's a minefield, not a road. Yeah, it's the maddest roads. Back to the potholes. That road we went on near Portland or on the way back was the maddest road I've seen in Jamaica in terms of potholes. Yeah, so Khawaja gone for 23. That brings in Steve Smith with his paltry test match average of 56. Australia 68 for 2. Cam Green is still there on 16 from 49. Let's look at that delivery again. So on a good length, held its line on the 4th, 5th stump line. Brilliant diving catch by Shea Hope, though. Khawaja goes for 23. 8 Frank says, genuine question. Does that count as a decent opening stint from Usman? How many balls did he see off in the end? Pause. I need to see how many balls he saw off. Sometimes you got to see off some balls, you know. Let me see how many. Let me shout out. He saw off. He faced 92 balls. 92 balls. Sometimes you have to face 92 balls, you know, and show that you can survive the balls. That's what that porn actress did. How many man went balls deep? About like 1,000 man or something. Khawaja went 92 balls deep. Sometimes it gets like that. Sometimes you get taken there. Steve Smith is in. 68 for 2 for Australia. Steve Smith is in. You see, sometimes you have to make comments like that and then carry on like you didn't say anything and just leave it hanging in the air. Anyways, number 70, 2 balls left of his 11th over, 1 for 14 over the wicket. That's hanging down the leg side, and Hope takes a good diving catch down the leg side. But again, I mean, he's got the wicket at the end of the day, but that one was sprayed way down the leg side. Should I do some actual comms? I'm going to do next over. I'm going to actually do some test match comms. I'm going to do some test match comms, and somebody clip it and play it to Cricket West Indies and say, "Hold on a minute, how comes you don't get this guy involved in the cricket?" Joe Bub says, "I genuinely not disappointed with Adam so far." Yeah, Jimmy's been really, really good on the mic, as expected. Jimmy's a good guy, man. Jimmy's a really good guy. Shamar Joseph in to Smith, who goes for a quick run here. Run out chance. No, he dives back in. And Shea Hope is there on the overthrow. That was one of those kind of erratic shots from Smith where, you know, he does the kind of flamboyant. Is it even flamboyant? That's the wrong word. It looked like he wanted to do one of his idiosyncratic leaves. Caught the outer half. Oh, it's a no ball anyways. Caught the outer half of his bat. Set off on an ill-advised run. Big overstep there from number 70. So they'll bowl that one again. Cam Green wanted nothing of that run. All right, let's go again. We'll roll that one up. Fireball says we're going to miss Uncle Faz on Sportsmax. I want to know what the real story is behind the Sportsmax thing. Anyway, Shamar Joseph in again. Final ball of the 11th over, or his 11th over, I should say. Back of a length. And Smith rides the bounce, and that brings an end to the over. 69 for 2. Steve Smith yet to score. Cam Green on 16. Karras says, the way the pink ball is moving in the air and off the wicket, should Australia declare a little after 65 overs of batting? Who was it? Was it Mitchell Stark? One of the bowlers at the start of the match was interviewed. It may have even been the captain. It might have been Pat Cummins at the captain's interview. And they were talking about their experience having done training under the lights at Sabina, and he was like, we think it's really going to nip around under the lights. So I'm not saying Australia would do this, but there is an argument to say that they could. Obviously, they've gone too slow, but there is an argument to say that at some point in this match, probably Australia, more likely than West Indies, could deliberately declare or do something to manufacture a situation where, or like enforce a follow-on where West Indies are batting under lights. Because if that ball is nipping and seaming off the wicket under lights, we are absolutely fried fish. It's already nipping and seaming off the wicket and the lights ain't on yet. So if it does that under the lights to an exaggerated sense, then we're absolutely fried fish. If we had batted first, and Australia had bowled those 25 overs that we just bowled before in the first session, I'm adamant we would have lost 3 or 4 wickets in the first session. Anyways, Justin Graves is at the other end, left alone by Cam Green, no run. Oh, yeah, I said I was going to commentate and I forgot to. Here we go. Joe Bob says, from what I understand, Flo took over the entire of Russian Sportsmax and was slowly phasing them out. As you might have noticed, they lost a lot of live games in the past year or so and were doing delayed. Fair enough. So, but then that implies that Sportsmax wasn't making them any money. Yeah, that implies that Sportsmax must have been losing money or wasn't. If Sportsmax wasn't a moneymaker or an advertising dream, then there's no way they let that go. But then, can I be real? If anyone on Sportsmax is watching this, don't be offended by it. 1 second. One second, people. Sorry, people. What's this? See what I mean? I just went to reply to someone on Twitter and I forgot my chain of thought. Oh, yeah, Sportsmax, right. If anyone on Sportsmats is watching this, please don't be offended by what I'm about to say. But with respect, the quality of the hosts of Sportsmax has got increasingly worse. And I say that with respect. I'm talking about, like, I'm somebody who was watching Sportsmax when Alex was there, right? And you had Lance and you had George, right? I'm talking about the real Don Dadders of this thing, right? Where you didn't even want to miss an episode of Sportsmax. But who is it now? And again, I'm saying this with respect, right? So the hosts now are Maria, Bigfoot, and what's his name? Is it Ronaldo? What's the name of the Jamaican? Is Lance still there? No, Lance. Is Lance? I don't even know. But the point is, come on, let's be honest. The quality isn't as high. And what was still selling Sportsmax as the place to watch stuff was the name Sportsmax, but the quality had declined. That's in my view, right? I'm sure they listen. I don't even think that's disrespectful. I just think it's facts. I just think it's facts. The quality had declined. Anyway, serves them right. They should have put me on the show. Right. So Australia's run rate slightly better. Hold on. So Ghost George says, come on, Mash, you can't say that as a pundit yourself. Have some respect for your fellow colleagues. It's a given in journalism. You cannot make that comment. Wait, what comment? What have I said that's disrespectful? They weren't as good as the guys and girls who used to be on it. That doesn't mean that they're not good in their own right, but they weren't as good. What? Come on, like, this is the problem, right? Let me explain something to you lot. You see the thing with me, right? I'm gonna say what I believe it to be the case. What do you want me to? What do you think this is? What do you lot really think this is? You don't think, like, people can come and cuss me? You know, I don't business. Like, everyone's got their right to say. Everyone's got their right to say what they want to say. Like, I don't think the show is as good as it used to be. I still watch it, so I'm not saying the show's shit. You know, I still watch it. It's just not as good as it used to be. Like nowadays, if there's something for Sportsmax, I might not immediately click on it. Once upon a time, you think I'd miss a Sportsmax interview with someone? You best believe I'm clicking on that to hear what's going down, because it was a can't miss show. Whereas now, I'm like, yeah, I'll take it or leave it. That's my point. And I don't think that's disrespectful. I think it's just facts. In the same way how somebody might look at CCP and go, in fact, somebody said that to me the other day. Somebody sent me a message on Twitter the other day saying 2 years ago CCP was mustn't miss content. Now you're just all right. And that's fair enough. I replied to him and I went, cool story, bro. Like, that's fair enough. That person is well within their rights to make that comment. They're well within their rights to make that comment. Like, that might be true. It might not be true. But I ain't going to stop them. I can't hate on them for it. Sorry, people. I'm just making a thing. Right. Anyways, let's move on. TC said Sportsmax made me like Nick. I presume she means Nikhil Uttam Chandani. Nikhil Uttam Chandani is the someone in the Discord said today, they know full well who they are, that Nikhil Uttam Chandani is the best looking commentator cricket commentator in the world. That's what someone said in the Discord today. The best looking cricket commentator in the world. I said Alex Jordan is, but they said it's Nikhil. But, you know, it gets like that. It gets like that. Nikhil's taken him there. Nikhil took him there. He was like, man, look good. Sometimes it gets like that. Who was it again? I can't remember who it was, but Nikhil had taken him there. That's a good shot, that from Steve Smith. Sorry, people. I was admiring the shot. Just got into the pool from Shamar Jodds there. Shamar went short and Smith was onto that. Quick as anything, pulls it to the mid-wicket boundary for 4. Joel Bob says, in Major League Cricket, Nikhil had someone with a flyer in the crowd who wanted to meet him. Yeah, it's true. Okay, objectively speaking, someone clip this and send it to Nikhil. Objectively speaking, Nikhil's a good-looking guy. What do you want me to say? Good-looking guy. He's TV friendly. I can't deny that. Man must have there must be enough cricket gal running him down. The only problem is I think Nikhil's married to the cricket, so they're going to have to try harder than just holding up a placard. They have to like hit a 6 or something. They have to do something more than just hold up placard. So this watch-along has turned into people talking about how good-looking Nikhil is. It gets like that, though. It gets like that. So let me talk about my locks, actually. I went for a steam treatment on my locks the other day. It was nice, you know. Got some tea tree oil, some rosemary oil. It was steaming that. I was feeling fresh. I was feeling fresh after that. Manav says, Nikhil fan club members meeting. Yeah, that's what this is right now. That's what we're on right now. The best looking person in cricket is Alex Jordan. Easily. Top tier. No one can't beat Alex Jordan. Like Alex is number 1. Best looking in cricket. And then if we're talking about attracting 60-year-old men, then I'm definitely in the top 5. I'm definitely in the top 5. If we're talking about attracting 60-year-old men, I've got to be in that conversation. You've definitely got to have me in there. If we're talking about the real attraction, I'm in that conversation for sure. I might all be Alex Jordan if it was between me and Alex Jordan for attracting men over the age of 60. I'm better looking than her still. Like I might text Alex and tell her that I've had men messaging me saying get out your belly. I've had men messaging me saying race me. I've had men messaging me sharing their best 11s. I've had men messaging me wanting to talk about cricket pitches. Alex Jordan ain't getting them messages. She ain't getting those messages. I've got nothing. Boy. Right. Anyways, Grays. He's into Steve Smith. Steve Smith goes on the drive, and that's fielded at cover. He's angry with himself there. He thought he should have beaten the covers for 4 runs. Ghost says, now that Faz is out of Sportsmax, or Sportsmax is done in a month, will you get him as part of the call? That's actually a good point, you know. I might get Faz on. Yeah, I might get Faz on still. That's a good point. Peter says, Mash, why are you attracting so many men? Well, I don't know, you know. I don't know. I was about to say something so reckless, but I stopped myself. Smith works at one off his pads. Beat the mid-on fielder, who's at Jaden Seals, who has to haul that in. That's 2 more runs for for Steve Smith. He moves on to 8. Australia 82 for 2. Let me update the score. Let me update it. 82 for 2. So I was speaking to Shane. I don't know if Shane's still here. I was speaking to Shane earlier today, and Shane said to me, so I'm going to let you lot into something that we're thinking about doing on Caribbean Cricket Podcasts in the near future, and possibly as soon as like a month and a half from now. We're thinking of changing Caribbean Cricket Podcasts into something like the Caribbean Cricket Podcast Network. And what that will basically mean, I don't want to give away too many details because there's a lot of West Indian content creators who basically copy what I do. But what that will basically mean is that the YouTube page will turn into a regular content page, but not just from myself and Santoki. So it might look something like this. 1 episode a week will be me and Santoki. Another episode might be me. And there's a few more people who are going to join the network, and their shows will be on it. That's probably the next evolution of the platform. So there's some conversations going on in the background. I've got people that I've been meeting with about moving their content, some content that they're going to do. But anyways, part of that, Shane's here. So Shane said to me, Only Facts Sports People, that's Shane's channel. If you don't know Shane, people, he's the one who triggered every single uncle in the Caribbean. Go follow Only Facts Sport People, like, share, subscribe to that channel. Top tier channel for boxing. So Shane said to me, Mash, you should actually have a show on Caribbean Cricket Podcast, which is just you talking about things outside of cricket. And I think Shane's got a point. I think Shane has got a point. Like, so for example, like I've got several opinions about several things. Yeah, it wouldn't fit the cricket mantra, but I think Caribbean Cricket Podcast has grown to a point now where I don't think anyone would care that we'd have a show on here that has nothing to do with cricket. So I think Shane's got a point. I'm going to do some thinking about it, and see what I can do. See what I can do about that. TC says, do you have time for all of this? Remember, TC, from September. So TC, next week, Friday, is my final day of working full time. It's my final day of working full time at my job. So that's all change. I'm going to go. So I will never, as God is my witness, soft hands down to the ground, slits fields, Ross and Chase. As God is my witness, I will never work full time in teaching again. Lord, please, I'm asking the Lord to make sure that never happens. That doesn't mean I don't want to work with the young people. I just can't, because I've worked in teaching for 20 years. Whips that off the middle stump, but again, fielded at short mid wicket, no run. So last day of full time on Friday, and then from September the 1st, I'm 3 days a week at my job. So I stay at the same place, but 3 days a week, and then 2 days doing stuff like this. So 2 days a week where some of it I'll work on cricket stuff, CCP. Got loads of things. I will finally have the time basically to grow the channel how it probably should have been growing. I reckon CCP is about a year and a half behind where it should be right now. Yeah. So I'll have some time for that. And also, not all of you know, but I also do like a lot of football media work. So I'll have some time to actually do that as well. So the idea is to spend those 2 days doing football media, cricket media stuff, etc., etc. Yeah, Rod says, my dad was a teacher for 40 years. He told me to never get into teaching. Yeah, it's what I say to everyone. Whenever I meet young people and they're like, I might get into teaching, I always say, no, don't do it. Unless you unless you can center yourself around the reward of helping young people prosper, which is very rewarding, very, very valuable. But if you actually want to have work-life balance, teaching's not the job. It really isn't the job. So 8 Frank says, my FWB. What the hell is an FWB? Good shot there from Smith through the covers. 4 runs. Yeah, this is a problem. Once Steve Smith's in, as difficult. Remember, and here's the thing: Smith is 13 from 16. I'm trying not to speak too soon. But it's a good cut shot, yeah, through the covers there. But Graves gave him too much width. Because Khawaja saw off so many, because Khawaja saw off so much of the new ball, it's going to help someone like Smith and Head get into their work. Oh, FWB. Oh, bloody hell. 8 Franks is on a sexing thing. FWB apparently means friends with benefits. That's how I know I don't have gal, you know. Either I don't have gal or I'm an old uncle. I didn't even know that's what FWB means. Friends with benefits. All I've got is CU, cricket uncles. Ronaldo Salters says, teacher here too. It's not easy these days. Yeah, ain't easy. And the thing is, we're talking about teaching. We ain't even got into the behavior aspect of it. We're just talking about the administrative work. It's long out here. Smith again, drive through the covers, another 4 runs. Graves again you can't give a batter like Steve Smith that much space, or that much width, I should say. He's going to punish you. And Smith has moved to 21 off 18 balls. Remember how Khawaja and Constas were going go slow? Well, Steve Smith has come out 36 overs deep and he said, right, the ball's there to be put away. It's softer now. Let's put this away. So Australia, 96 for 2. Yes. Let me update the score. So Australia, 96 for 2. Yeah, my dad's out of order now. So I spoke to him today. So my mum is here at the moment. She's arrived from Jamaica on, what day is it? It's Tuesday. She arrived from Jamaica on Thursday. So today I went to go see my mum at my sister's house. And so when we were there, my mum was like, ring your dad. So I rang him. And I was like, yeah, Pops. So I was like, so I'm going to be, I was telling him my itinerary. And I was like, right, so I'm going to get to Montego Bay at such and such time. I said, can you pick me up or not? And Pops was like, yeah, I'll come get you from Montego Bay. I said, cool. And then I said, the next day is the West Indies game. I said, are you going town? Sorry, for people who don't know Jamaica, town is Kingston. So I was like, are you going town on Tuesday? So I get in on Monday. I was like, are you going town on Tuesday? Come, let's go to the West Indies game. I said, it's a nighttime match. So I said, we'll have to find somewhere to stay in Kingston. Like, we've got loads of family and friends in Kingston. But I said, come, let's go watch. I said, I'm going to the game. Why don't you come? I said, I said to the man, I'll get you a ticket, because I've already got press accreditation, right? So I was like, don't worry, I'll sort you out a ticket. I should be able to get him one free. So I was like, I'll get you a free ticket, you know. I said, Pops, I'll sort you out a free ticket. I said, I'll probably get you into like the media section or accreditation somewhere else in the ground. The man said to me, I can't bother. He said, I can't bother with that. He said, I'll find somebody for you to stay with in Kingston. Go yourself. I said to the man, I'll get you a free ticket. The man said he's not coming. Man said, go on your ones. He's left me out there high and dry. Said he's not coming Kingston with me. He said, I'll find you somewhere for you to stay in Kingston and then catch the Knutsfoot coach and come back to Mandeville the next day. Man just left me out there on my ones, you know. I said, it's Pops and Son time. Bear in mind, the man's not seen me in about 6, 7, 8 months, whatever. I said, Pops and Suntime, can we go watch the West Indies? Man said, corner man. Man said, corner man, let me just stay at home and watch TVJ and a movie. He said, go down to Sabina by yourself. And furthermore, catch a nutspot and come back yourself the following day as well. Ah, boy. So that's me still. You're not interested in the slightest. I'm still going to try and change his mind. Imagine the man turned down a free ticket. Free ticket, you know. He said he's not coming, not even for a free ticket. He says he's not wasting his time. West Indies cricket has taken him there. Right. He can't even believe I'm going. He thinks I'm a lost cause. Anyways, so Steve Smith is on 21 not out, Green 22 not out. Australia 96 for 2 after 37 overs. The run rate must be over 3 in this session. Park John says, Mash, if the Aussies are playing a 36-year-old, why aren't we playing Roach for Phillip? I'm surprised they've gone with Warrican, you know. Like, sometimes I look at decisions like this and go, so what have Australia seen? What have Australia seen that we haven't seen, right? So Australia have dropped Nathan Lyon for Scott Boland. We already know what Scott Boland's like with a pink ball. So they have no spinners. We have 2 spinners, of which Roston Chase is unlikely to bowl. So the first question is, why have we gone in with a spinner? The second question is, having looked at this series, I mean, Sammy will probably say, though, in fairness, that, well, West Indies have taken 20 wickets in both test matches. So there's the evidence that we didn't need Roach. Let's try and be balanced about it. I mean, you could say that with I think there's some validity to that statement. Did they just show the blue look? So when I was in Portland, I went to this place, right? I've got a picture of it. I think it's on my Instagram. When I was in Portland, I went to this place where I want to say it was called the Blue Lagoon, but I don't actually know if it was called that. But you lot, let me tell you something. You see the water I saw there that day is the bluest water I have ever seen in my life. Clean. Oh my God. I want to say it was called the Blue Lagoon. Can't remember though. I'll have to go and look at my picture. Oh, Jamaica's beautiful, you know. Jamaica's beautiful. Anyways, back to the cricket. Warrican's in. Speak of the devil. Warrican's in for his 3rd over of the day. And Green backs away, tries to play that through the covers. Can only find the fielder. No run. Jay says, young Ursino Fontaine made a century against Guyana under 19s. I don't know who that is, but good for him. What country is that? Was that an overthrow there? Yeah, but don't worry, fielders get it. The crowd at Sabina is bigger than I thought it would be, to be fair. TC says Frenchman's Cove. I wonder if I went there as well. That rings a bell. That rings a bell, TC. I'll need to go have a look. Warrican in again. Green's on strike. He's on 24 from 66. Australia 98 for 2. Again, plays it off the back foot. Stopped in the covers. Is that Machel Louis in the covers there? No run. When does this session end? When did we start? We started about an hour ago. Does anyone know when this session ends? What time? Warrican in again to Smith. He's forward. Pushes that past the short cover fielder. He'll get 1. Moves on to 25. Australia 99 for 2. How has Warrican bowled so far? He's floated it up there. Not bad. I mean, what is he? 2.5 overs, none for 5. He's floated it up there. Nothing special. But again, time will tell if we needed to play a spinner today or in this test match in general. I almost feel like they have to bowl Warrican. This one again, just floated up on middle stump, defended, pushed back down the wicket. I almost feel like they have to bowl Warrican. They can't do what they did in the first test where he basically didn't bowl. Like if you've picked him as a frontline bowler, you have to play him. Like Or you have to bowl him. Let's get some water, man. Ah, boy. Right, let's get rid of this. Like, share, subscribe, people. Like, share, and subscribe. So one of the reasons why I'm doing this live watch along as well, by the way, is because sorry, I'm just doing the ticker tape. Yeah, one of the reasons why I'm doing a live watch along is because for the first 2 tests, like I did a live day at the test for each day of the test. Miss Fielder covers 1 run. That brings Australia's 100 up. But it's impossible to do that, because to do that at this test match, I'd have to do it at like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning or something like that. And that's just not possible. Santoki and I discussed maybe doing like a day at the test review the morning after. But again, I'll be back at work, so that's not possible either. So I just thought, okay, for the first 2 days of this test, I'll do a live watch along of a session of the test match. And this seemed like the easiest one to do it in today, just because it would make sure that I stay awake. I'll see if I can stay awake for the 3rd session, but it's so unlikely. Anyways, 100 is up. Steve Smith's on strike. He's 21 from 21. Justin Graves is bowling. He trundles in to Steve Smith. Steve Smith with the exaggerated foot movement and just shovels that down to deep point. Well, I thought it was 1, but it's good running. They run a 2 there. Smith moves to 23. Australia 102 for 2. 8 Frank says, is it true that Warrican scored highest in the psychometric test? So to appease him for not being captain, he was given the vice captaincy. I don't know. What I do know for facts is that he scored very high. Whatever those tests were, he scored very high in them. So, and it was high enough for them to feel like he deserved an aspect of the captaincy. That much is true. TC says, when Mash gets sleepy, his mouth gets reckless. I would, hey. TC, was she trying to skewed off the outer portion of his back for Steve Smith? 1 run. What's she trying to say about my mouth? How raunchy. TC coming out here with the raunchy statements. 11 o'clock at night in the UK. And she's taking it there with the raunch. I need to get water. Avi Maharaj says, Emilio Gay played for Italy recently. Can't someone encourage him home to come play for West Indies? He doesn't want to. He wants to play for England. He's made that very, very clear. Green prods forward there. Nearly caught the edge behind to Hope. He survives. He's 26 from 70. Smith 23 from 23. Yeah, unlucky that from Graves. Right in the area of uncertainty. Gets that bit of nibble off the wobble, but not enough to kiss the outside edge. Let me update the scorecard. The Polak says, I don't see the point of Graves still bowling. Yeah, I'm not sure why he's bowled. Do you know? Okay, no, let me start again. Graves, I think with the pink ball, they think that Graves can get more subtle movement. I think, and also what got Graves to come on in the first place is the other pacers. Sure. The other pacers were wasting too many of the balls up front, so Graves came on earlier than you would have expected, and that kind of middle, I'm gonna say middle, that medium pace that Graves has. Sometimes that gets a bit more of the subtle movement that you need. Sevi Shaveria says, I'm at Sabina, nice crowd and all. Yeah, big up the Sabina crowd. Hopefully it's even bigger on the Sunday. Do you know what, actually, I forgot to say. So my mum said earlier on today, when I saw her, sorry, I forgot to finish that story. So I was with my mum, and she said to me that sugar, that reminds me, you lot, I need to write. My mum was telling me, so actually let me tell you a different story. I'm sidetracking. So My mum said that on the plane over from, she was on British Airways, and she said a piece of luggage fell on her because the overhead thing wasn't shut, and the luggage fell out of it onto her. Like, she's got a bruise right here. And she said that they gave her sleep. She said she said that so she was obviously, she traveled on her one's aerial there from Smith, but Shaw's fall short, sorry, of a mid-on. So the suitcase or whatever it was in the overhead compartment, like, literally landed on her face. It's left a bruise above like her eye and above her nose. And she said that the man who was sat next to her, she said it was a young chap, and she said that the chap started cussing up the staff on British Airways, like the stewardesses, etc., stewards, and the captain came out, and she said the man was cussing, pure bad word. She said the man was treated her like it was his own mother that had been injured, and he was like, "You can't do the woman like that," and cussing. A doctor was called for. And she said that they gave her some sleeping tablets because she had a pounding headache, etc. Anyway, so she was telling me the story, and I was like, "So wait, what?" I said, "What compensation did you get?" She said they didn't offer any. And then I said, "Did they upgrade you to first class?" She said no, and she said the man who was next to her was cussing. She said cussing out their mother, cussing out everything, saying that she needed to be moved up to first class, and they can't do her like that, and this is a fuckery. And Warwick gets one right through there. Finally gets one through Smith's defences. Just bounces over the off stump. Nearly got him there. Whether it was a nick off to hold poor ball down, nearly got him. I'm coming back to that story. Yeah, gets one to just land, grip, and turn away. Doesn't kiss the outside edge. Really good delivery from Warwick there. Smith forward this time. Negates the drift and driven down to mid on no run. And so they wouldn't move. They didn't move her because the flight was full. So I said to my mum, "Listen," I said, "I want all the details of what's happened." I said, "I'm going to write out the most stink complaint letter for her." I said, "We're taking this to everyone." I said, "We're taking this everywhere." I said, "By the time I'm done with my stink letter, British Airways supposed to be giving her flights for the rest of the year. Well, I'm taking this everywhere. I ain't even started on Twitter yet, cussing out their blood clot. I'm taking it everywhere." She says she's got the man's number, the one who came over on the flight with her. I'm going to ring him. And get some more details from him, and so on and so forth. My mum, how old's my mum now? My mum's 70. You can't be doing that to a 70-year-old woman. Stink and dutty. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that to mumsy. We have to respect the mumsies out here. So yeah, that's what I'm on. That's what I'm on tomorrow, writing that stink letter to British Airways. I don't take British Airways to Jamaica, you know. It's only British Airways. If I fly Caribbean, it's got to be Virgin. I can't do although I did British Airways to Trinidad actually, but that's because I don't really know the Trinidad route. But Jamaica, it's got to be a Virgin thing. You've got to go on Virgin. British Airways, I think only gets custom because of the name British Airways. It's not a good airlines to fly on. It's really not a good airlines to fly on. Bun them. They're almost as shit as American Airlines. Right, anyways, back to the cricket. Right, where are we? Chase is in. I didn't even realise Chase is on. There was me saying that who's that injured in the outfield? Someone's boot's fallen off. What's going on now? Whose boot is that? Oh, is it Cam Green's boot? Yeah. So Chase bowled his first ball of his spell. Green turned that past whoever that is at short leg. Lost his boot in the process of trying to run for the single. Bit of a calamity there of a ball. Joe Bob says this is about American Airline. He said, "So, oh, you lot tell me about your worst flight experiences. Not in terms of in the air. Don't want to hear about those, but in terms of how an airplane has done fuckery to you." So Joe Bob says American delayed a flight, got on it late. The connecting flight took off by the time they reached. Compensation was a $20 subway card. All right, so there's a company in Britain that I got put onto where this is what I recommend to you lot. If you're ever delayed in an airline, you have to find one of those like delay repay airline companies. They'll take a cut of what you get, but they basically, you bring your case to them and they will just basically do everything. You give them all your flight details and stuff, and they basically do all the paperwork for you. It's in their best interest to win the case. So I did this once for a flight. I can't remember where it was. Probably going home, I'd imagine. And the flight, no, tell a lie. I went to Barcelona. And the flight back from Barcelona got delayed for 6 hours. Then, so say the flight was at like 7 in the evening. We didn't get on that plane till 10 a.m. the following morning. It's the only time I've ever had to sleep in an airport, not through choice, but because there was literally like the airline didn't even really give us food. They didn't even give us food vouchers because I think they gave us like a little orange juice carton and like one of them dead dry sandwiches, right? And so we didn't get on the plane till 10 a.m. the next morning. So when I got back to UK, I was like, someone said, Mash, you need to take this to one of them flight delay compensation companies. So I went to them. They said, just give us all the information. Gave it to all of them. They only came back to me once, which was just to check one or two things. And then at the very end of it all, they got in touch with me. It took about 3 months, 4 months. And at the very end of it all, they were like, right, we've won you the compensation. They compensate, whichever airline it was, compensated me my whole flight back plus an extra, something like an extra £300 on top because this company like identified all the various different violations that they did. So the company took about £100 of that, but I was like, yeah, I'm up. I got all the money back for my flight and £200 on top. So I always recommend that to people, that if a flight company does fuckery to you, you've got to pay a company to do all the work for you. Let them take their cut. You have to stick it to the man. Anyways, Whiff offered by Warwick and start of a new over, and he's cut to the boundary for 4. Cameron Green moves to 31. Kay Arnold says, the boys and men activist. No, hold on a minute. What do you mean by the boys and men activist? Do you mean the boys to men activist? Because if you mean the boys to men activist, I can get behind that. Although we go to the end of the road, still we can't let go. It's so natural. You belong to me. I belong to you. Go to the end of the road till we can't let go. It's so natural. I belong to you. You belong to me. What are you saying, Kay Arnold? What are you saying? Because I know if you're over 60, you're in my DMs right now. I know that got enough man feeling raunchy. Ah, boy. Right. What was he even saying? I didn't even look to see what the man's comment was. Like, let me go back to the comment. Right. So Kay Arnold says, I would have played the tall 6'5" bowler Lane instead of Warwican. Also, Mr. CCP, notice how Australian leaves out Lyon, a world-class bowler. That one's cut through the covers, but stopped there. I think was that an injury? Hold on a minute. Is that Brandon King? Is that? No, I think he's all right. But we selected, yeah. So back to if we actually look at Kayana's comment, Lane instead of Warwick, no, you can't debut. You can't. Lane's there for like work experience. Anderson Phillip, probably, if from the minute they know that Australia were likely to not play Lion, that's supposed to tell you something. So you keep Anderson Phillip there is what I think you should have done. But hey, yeah, it is what it is. Errol says it might be time for bed. How raunchy. That's a very raunchy comment from Errol there. You have to watch these guys like Errol, you know. These men like Errol will try to just slip the raunch in when you're not watching. A raunchy guy. He's trying to take it there. Right. Let's move on. Let me update the score. Wait, drop catch? Hold on, what? Mr. Casanova said drop catch. Who dropped it? What drop catch? I didn't see a drop catch. Hold on, what drop catch? Did I miss a drop catch? Whilst I was singing, did I miss a drop catch? No, hold on. Let me go back and watch this. I don't remember seeing Warwick drop anything. Let me go. How long ago did Warwick drop this? I shouldn't have been singing it on. Let me go back and watch this. Let me go see where this drop catch. Let me see if it was an actual opportunity though. Because sometimes you lot say drop catch and it's not even a drop catch. Okay, fourth ball of the over. Let's see. Oh, Sugar. Yeah. Is that a drop? It is a drop, but is it an easy catch? Okay, so Smith dropped on 24. Sugar, I missed that, you know. That's because I was singing Boys to Men. Smith dropped on 24. I'll remember. Okay, we have to remember that one. Was that a drop? Should he have taken it? I think when the ball is zinged at you like that, I think it's fair to say it should have been taken, but it's also fair to say I get why it's dropped when they come back at you so sharply. So it's a drop, but I wouldn't call it a conventional drop. Kay Arnold says he's an activist for boys and men's rights. Also, what is Chase's role in the team? Is he Batman or is he a bowler? He's Batman. Anyways, Warwick is back on, start of his 6th over. He's gone 5 overs, none for 10 into Green, who is forward in defence. No run. Australia 112 for 2, by the way. Like, share, subscribe, people. All of that. I need to get a drink of water. Been talking bare. Adam Chandler says, what are your thoughts on pink ball tests in general? Yeah, they're all right. They're a better time zone for other people. I think it's important that all regions of the cricket are able to watch cricket. All regions of the world are able to watch cricket. So I've got nothing against pink ball test. So actually, it's a healthy attendance on the shade side of the ground at Kingston. On the back foot, Green, and again cuts that in front of point. But Brandon King will run that down and restrict it for 2. Yeah, speaking of Brandon King, so that's the thing I didn't say. So my mum said to me this morning when I was speaking to her, when I saw her this morning, she was like, oh, Mash, I saw Brandon King's dad last week, or like last week, a couple of weeks ago, and she said he said to tell you that he really likes your podcast and he watches it regularly. And I said, oh, that's nice. I told you lot, because I think some people thought I was joking. So for those of you who don't know, my mum taught Brandon King when he was in prep school. Again, for any Jamaicans in the chat. So when Brandon went to prep school at Mona Prep, and that's where my mum taught there for many years. So she knows his family. So that's why the first time I met Brandon, or the first time I did any content with Brandon, I was like, like my mum knows you, innit? And I was like, told him, obviously said what her name is, and it's like, oh my God. He's like, that's your mum? I was like, yeah. Small world, really small world. And then my brother. So did Brandon? I want to say that Brandon, if there's Jamaicans in the chat, they'll confirm it to me. Brandon went to Campion. He must have gone Campion. Surely Brandon went Campion. Must have done. Yeah, Brandon went Campion. So my brother was in Campion at the same time as Brandon. So yeah. Ian Patterson says, Arden, no, Brandon, I swear Brandon went Campion, because my brother was like, no, Brandon was because my brother was like, yeah, when Brandon was coming up through Campion, everybody was talking about how he was going to play for the West Indies because he was so good at cricket. Brandon would have gone to Campion at the same time as like Abhishai Mansingh. He probably was in the same team with Mansingh. Mikhail Zulfikar says, you can't see the cricket live, just this one-sided, I know it all fella. Poor cricket commentary anyways. Commentator needs coaching. Listen live on radio commentary, people. New Zealand radio. You flipping dunce. Hey, Mikhail, you are an absolute dunce. So, no, I was about to be reckless, but let me be nice and just say you're a dunce though, innit? Like, what do you think this is? It's people like you that need to come out of West Indies cricket, Like you're like the you're like the archetypal old fart. Like, come out of the cricket, innit? Come out of it. Tired of these old fart dinosaurs. We've been failing for 25 years, and all these old farts ain't got nothing to say. They can't bring nothing constructive to the cricket. All they can do is just talk. Mr. Casanova says Campion is the #1 school in Jamaica. Is it though? It's the #1 school in. I was about to say it's the #1 school in Kingston, but then I think it's the #1 school in Kingston. But then you've got some of them private schools, haven't you? Like Hillel and all those ones. Definitely a top school though, for sure. Sachin with the super chat. Thank you, Sachin. Sachin says, do you think Australia bats 2 days and hopes to bowl us out twice? Yeah, 100%. Australia are looking to make somewhere in the region of 350 to 400 here. That's what they're looking for. I'm not saying they're going to, and I'm not even suggesting that West Indies are bowling bad. What I am saying is that this is a truer pitch to play on than what we saw in Barbados and Grenada. This is what we should have seen in Barbados and Grenada, where you have to work a bit harder to get your wickets. So I can see Australia looking to try get up 350 minimum. That's what they'll be aiming for. And then they'll want to then be bowling at us when we're under lights. So if this test match goes perfectly for Australia, they will want to basically be all out by the end of the first session tomorrow. In an ideal world, that's what they'll be aiming for. And then they'll be like, right, West Indies will have to bat on the lights on the day 2. And then that's when they'll hope to cash in. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Andre Russell in the crowd there, backstage with Ravi Rampal. Campion and Immaculate are always fighting for number 1 and number 2 spots island-wide. Interesting. Immaculate. All I know about Immaculate is that the girls who went to Immaculate were Chris. That's all I know, you know, back in my day. Okay, what's the score? So Australia 116 for 2. Still slow going in this game. Steve Smith on 24. Cameron Green on 39. That one pushes Cam Green back, but he's able to just defend that on his stumps. On middle stump, there's no run there. Cam Green is on 39. Steve Smith is on 24. For somebody who isn't a conventional test match number 3, Cam Green is doing all right. Oh, this time he goes back again, tries to play off his stumps. Graves goes up. Warrican goes up. He nearly made an error of judgment there. He shouldn't be going back to all of these balls. Plays it late, nearly chops on onto his stumps, gets away with it. Not sure that going back is the... If you're going to play the spinner, I don't think you go back on this wicket. This time he's forward in defence, no run. Brings an end to Warrican's over. West Indies, Australia, 116 for 2. Steve Smith is on 24. Cam Green is on 39. Arnold says, I feel if Campbell doesn't come good, Alec will be making a return. But then who would open? Because Alec's not opening. We basically have no openers now. Now that people have got their way and Craig Brathwaite's gone, there's now no openers. It's a really good crowd, you know, on that side of the ground. Far more than you would have expected at a test match in Kingston. Right, Ruston Chase is on. His 4th over. He's gone 3 overs, none for 5. Steve Smith is forward, drives over the head of cover, 4 runs. Gets to the pitch of the ball. Deliberate shot, lofted over cover. 120 for 2. Yeah, aerial room. Machel Louis, I think, is in there at extra cover, but and he's a tall man, so that shows you just how good. Smith this time tucks that off his front pad. No run into leg side. Joshua Burgess, big up Josh. Josh says, I think there's a big centre on the boards for this game. Yeah, more than likely. So Versh says, Mash, are you supporting Greenwood? So what's the name of that guy on Sportsmax who's caused a bit of controversy? The black brother with the he hasn't got dreads, but what's his name, man? I can't remember his name. The Jamaican on Sportsmax who basically said, I don't support Greenwood coming into the Jamaica team. Now, so actually going back to before I answer and before I give you my opinion on Mason coming into the Reggae Boys team, this is the type of thing that Shane is on about. So when Shane messaged me and said, Mash, you need to have a show on CCP, which isn't about cricket, and you're just talking your shit about other stuff. Because Shane's point to me is, Mash, you're actually an interesting person to listen to, whether you agree with Shane or not, whatever. But Shane's point was, Mash, you're an interesting person to listen to. People would want to listen to you talk on other stuff other than just cricket. Cool, whatever. If you agree with that, great. If you don't, also cool. So, Mason Greenwood. Here's what I need to say about this. The Mason Greenwood case is worse than number 70's case for the West Indies, right? Because reverse sweep there by Green doesn't get the right execution, but it works because there's nobody out there on the leg side. So he gets away with it, but it was poor execution. Could easily have been trapped on his front pad there, was falling over as he played the shot. Let me see again. Yeah, maybe I'm a bit harsh there. Still wasn't properly balanced. Actually, I mean, it goes aerial. I'm not sure that's what he was intended. It goes in front of square on the leg side. But there was no one there, so he gets away with it. I think it was poor execution, but he gets away with it all the same. So, Mason Greenwood, let's finish the comment. Mason Greenwood's case is worse than number 70 because number 70's case at this point in time is allegations. We don't have any proven facts in the case yet, and so on and so forth. Mason Greenwood, the audio went out into the public sphere, right? And people know from pictures and what went out into the public sphere that at the bare minimum, he tumped up his gal. And at the bare minimum, he used sexual... I'm trying to think of the right word. At the bare minimum, he used sexually aggressive language on his gal. On that basis, and here's the point. This is a point that my brother made to me, which I completely agree with. At the end of the day, right? Oh, that one catches a leading edge there, but again, pops up into the offside, no run. The biggest issue for me with Greenwood is that at no point did he ever really make any kind of public contrition to suggest that he had grown as an individual, or like there was no kind of donations to any kind of charities or any kind of public facing recognition that he had acted like a scumbag. And on the flip side, you could say he don't owe that to any of us, but I'm just saying there was no public contrition around it. Next thing we know, he's getting married to his gal, case is dropped, they've got 2 kids now, life is good. Now, I don't know if life is good. I'm not in his life. I don't know. But what I do know is that doesn't look like contrition to some people. I'm not talking about myself. I'm just trying to look at it straight down the line. Due to that lack of contrition, I can totally understand why some people would look at Mason Greenwood and say, I do not feel comfortable with someone like that representing my nation, my team, my whatever. Right? I can totally get why somebody might think like that. I also can get why some people would say, what's done is done. It's like he's married now, he's with the same girl, he's got kids, and what's done is done. I, again, don't necessarily agree with that, but I can see why some people might say that. What I would say, though, is this. Wherever you stand on the Mason Greenwood argument, what I would say is this, and this is my biggest issue with any kind of case that any sports person finds themselves in when it reaches the public eye, right? Often people are quick to condemn the particular sports person. So in this case, we're talking about Mason Greenwood. Some people will say number 70, etc. So often people are quick to condemn. There's a verse, I think, in the Bible. I can't remember. If anyone's a Christian here, you can remind me where it comes from without me typing it in to find it. There's a verse in the Bible which tells a story where the line is something like, this isn't it, but it's a paraphrase. The line is something like, you hypocrite, first remove the plank of wood from your eye before you comment on the dust in someone else's eye. It's something like that. Anyone who's a Christian, tell me where in the Bible it says that. First remove the plank of wood from your eye before you comment on like the dust in someone else's eye or the speck in someone else's eye. It's something along those kind of lines. And sometimes when we are quick to comment on the lives and behaviors of sports stars, I often think, hold on a minute. What's gone on in your life that we don't know about because you're not in the public eye, which shows your scumbag behavior that you've got away with because you ain't nobody to anyone. So you've just got away with it. And I sometimes just look at people and go, if we could air your scumbag behavior out in the public, would you be feeling so bossy to comment on somebody else? So sometimes I just feel like that. Sometimes I just feel like that. See, you lot not see every now and again. So obviously sometimes I do the reckless thing, but every now and again, you can probably tell that I was raised by a pastor. Every now and again, I will show you just a little piece of me, which tells you the type of household I was raised in. Big up Reverend Roderick Hewitt. That was a sermon delivered by the son of Reverend Roderick Hewitt. Right. Seals into Cam Green, who's on the front foot drive, beats the cover fielder. I don't know if there's any protection out there. It's slowing up in the outfield, so actually I think they'll only come back for 3. I think it's run down by Brandon King. And he does indeed get 3. Cam Green moves to 46. Yeah, here's the quote. I knew it. I hadn't made it up. Matthew 7, verse 5. You hypocrite, first take the plank of your own eye, and then you will be clear. Then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. I knew it was something like that. I knew I hadn't made it up, you know. My dad, someone send that clip to my dad and they'll be like, yes, I actually raised that boy properly. He actually took in all those Bible verses that I was preaching to him as a youth. Right. So, Australia, 128 for 2. Orin Smith says, is that not just whataboutism though, Mash? Which part? You're going to have to give a bit more detail than that. If you mean, if I'm saying like a scumbag is a scumbag is a scumbag, that's what I'm saying. So if you, for example, Orin, are a scumbag, I'm not saying you are, but let's say you are. If you're a scumbag, who's this now walking off the field injured? Oh, no, we got a problem here, people. I'll come back to scumbag in a minute. Who's this now? Is it Machel Louis? Right. So when Green went on that drive just a minute ago, Louis got down to his left to try and stop it. Looks like he might have jarred his left knee into the turf. I'm assuming that's where it is anyways. They'll have to have a look at that. Obviously the physio, but he's gone off. He was walking gingerly there. Seals in to Smith and he just nurdles that one out into the leg side for 1. Yeah, so I'm not going further on Orange point because I think he's, a scumbag is a scumbag is a scumbag. Yeah, that's basically my point. I guess what I'm saying though, Oren, is some people. So Louis hurt his left knee because he's hopping up those steps there. He's probably going to need to get some ice on that. If that's how he's getting up there, he needs to get some ice on that and elevate that because he can't afford to be one player down. Who would open if Louis was unable to open? Don't tell me they put Brandon King there. They probably would, you know, because they're not going to. Great delivery there. Just beats the outside edge. Who was that? Of course, Starboy. Just beats the outside edge. So I think we've seen at least, lands that on the third stump, just moves away. Green prods at it, goes fishing, but doesn't nick through to Hope. We've seen so many balls like that. And my worry is that Australia's bowlers are more accurate than ours. So and our technique is worse than theirs. So you best know that some of those balls, when we get them, we're nicking behind to the keeper. Seals in again. This one bowls him. Readjusts his line straight through Green. Starboy bowls him, takes out the middle stump. The last one just moved off the seam away from Green. This one in ducker straight through Green. set him up possibly with the previous ball. Maybe Green thought that one was going away, but this one comes in. This one comes in, takes the. I thought it was middle stump, takes the top of his off stump. Perfect delivery, perfect channel. Green's gone for 46. It's a good 46 from Green. 46 of 108. 46 of 108 balls. That's the type of innings you're going to have to play on this wicket. Although Travis Head is in next, and Travis Head, I'm not sure if he's up for the grinding thing. Let me update this. So Australia 120. Australia 129 for free. Sorry, people, I'm just updating the Twitter. Right, okay, cool. So there was a comment from TC earlier on, which I meant to come back and explain. Let me see if I can find it. See if, oh, here we go. Right, so TC says, can you tell us about the new Discord plans? Right, so the new Discord plans is this. So if you're somebody in the Discord, yeah, that's flipping brilliant from Seals. Absolutely brilliant. Outward movement for the preceding ball, inward for the second. Got him. Right. The Discord plan is as follows. What happened, TC, is this, right? I got a cuss out from someone a couple of months back who, not cuss out, but it was a constructive cuss out, who basically said to me, Mash, CCP gives away too much stuff for free. People have become accustomed to believing that CCP must just do everything for free and not collect their flowers and so on and so forth. And so they were like, and so I said, give an example. And they said, right, if you follow other people's channels and stuff that do things properly through the covers, Steve Smith, but that's going to be stopped by, I don't know if that was Brandon King. No, who's that? Oh, it's Imlak. Imlak's come out because Louis off. Run round from mid-off down to deep extra cover to cut that off. Steve Smith gets to. So they were like, all these other channels that have Patreons and things like that, they were like, to get a Discord, to get in the Discord, people actually have to like contribute. They don't just create a free Discord and say, everybody come in. Like, you're supposed to earn the right to be in the Discord. So this person went in the Discord and pre'd it. And they were like, you've got like 300 men and a couple gal in the Discord. And they were like, nobody's had to earn any right to be in there. You're just giving away free content. And basically he was like, you've got to make it something that people not earn, but just make it something that people actually have to be able to get into. So that's why I'm deleting it. So after going back and forth, I was like, maybe he's got a point. Maybe I actually need to delete the Discord. So what I'm going to do when I get to Jamaica, because I haven't got time to do any of this shit right now because like work and school, and this one's whipped down to Mid-On. In fact, I think Mid-On's, yep. Mid-On got down and did the elementary school misfield. It was number 70. He fielded it like I would have done, 4 runs. So another 4 for Smith. He moves to 36. Australia 135 for 3. Yeah, so basically I'm going to delete, when I get to Jamaica, when I actually have time to actually do something, I'm going to delete it. And then the plan is to make the Discord part of being a patron. This time Smith is down on the sweep. Has that gone into Campbell's chest? Campbell holding his chest. I thought that was along the ground, but it looks like it might have gone aerial. Let's see on the replay how that went. Yeah, so the plan is to make the Discord something that you get into when you become a patron. Now, I'm aware that some people will be like, Mash, I'm not giving you no money to get into any Discord. Fair enough. So some people who are already in the Discord, who's been with, yeah, well, that's hard, you know. Oi. That sweep from Smith went right up here and right up into Campbell's upper chest piece. Surprised he's not gone off the field to have that looked at. That would have, look at this mad ras now. Who let this mad old Jamaican man come into the stadium, man? Yeah, Campbell had to go off for that one still. That one went flush right into his chest piece. Can't stay out on the field with that. That's got to be checked out. That's a cricket ball, you know. That's dangerous. That shit's dangerous out there. So Anderson Phillip comes on to field. Substitute fielder for John Campbell. It's caught flush, man. Oi. Right into the flush into the chest. Anyway, Seals continues. Travis Head on strike, facing his first ball around the wicket to the left-hander. Yeah, Mr. Casanova. Mr. Casanova says he's going to feel that, yeah, there's going to be a massive bruise there tomorrow. Hopefully he's not got limited mobility in his arm from that bruise, because that looked bad. How many more minutes left, people, before dinner? It must be soon. I just realised what time it is. It's midnight. When's dinner? Who's keeping track of time? Because obviously I'm not playing the audio loud enough, because then it will put a strike on the channel. I'll finish the Discord point in a minute. Anyone know how many minutes left of the session? Must be, what, 5, 10? Seals into Head. Head is on the drive, and that goes through or just past a wide mid-off. They'll come out for 2. 5 minutes to dinner. So this stream is nearly done, people. So an hour and 45 minutes of this session, nearly done. So let me finish off the Discord point. So what I'm going to do, Discord will be something that you can only get into if you become a £2 or $2, whatever it is, patron. However, some of the old school people who've been with CCP from the jump, those people, I'm just going to tell them what the link is. But other people are going to have to work their way in, because everyone's just used to CCP just being like, oh, why don't you just give away stuff? Right, so Australia, 137 for 3, 5 minutes to go before tea, dinner even. Smith is, Head is off the mark. He's on 2 from 3. Smith, 36 from 53. And Jaden Seals has 3 balls left of his 11th over. So Smith around the wickets to Travis Head. Head again wanting to play the expansive drive that's fielded on the offside. No run. The lights are on. The lights are on. So what time is it in Jamaica right now? 5:45? Yeah, must be 5:45 in Jamaica. So lights are on. Light should start to go down by about 7, 6:30, 6:30, 6:45, 7, I'd imagine. Oh, it's just 2 towers, sorry. Cheeseman says it's just 2 towers. I thought it was all the lights. So just 2 towers on at the moment. That one's tucked fine on the leg side. 1 run for Travis Head. He moves to 3. JE says, I don't see West Indies batting by the end of the day. Yeah, they're not batting. Australia will still be batting by the close of play today. Right. Jaden Seals, final ball of his 11th over is bowled 10.5, 1 for 24 in to Steve Smith. Smith with the exaggerated movement again, squares him up a bit out into the offside, no run. That brings an end to the over. Australia 138 for 3. Steve Smith is on 36. Travis Head is on 3. Should I come back for the third session? Should I come back for the third session? Because I think I'll still be awake, you know. I think I'll just watch it on TV. I need to work out what I'm going to do when I get to Kingston next week, you know. I don't even know how I'm getting to Sabina Park when I go there, you know. I need to buck one of my friends. I need to buck one of them and work on a ting. Right. Orin Smith says, how are Bromley looking for next season, Mash? So far, so good. Although I was banned from speaking to the manager on Tuesday. They're not happy with me because I wrote an article that they're not happy about. So I didn't get to speak to the manager on Tuesday. So there's a bit of qualla going on right now. TC says drives Pop's car. I'm not driving from Mandeville to Kingston. No way. I think my plan at the moment, TC, is to get the Nutsfoot down to... No, he's going to drive me to Kingston. What am I saying? He's going to drive me to Kingston because I think he's down. This is the biggest joke, TC. He's in Kingston on the day, right? So he's in Kingston because he's got some business to attend to on the Tuesday morning. So check this out. The man says he's going to Kingston. He'll drive with me down to Kingston on Tuesday. But he says he's not staying. He says he's going home. Now, bear in mind, he's going to be in Kingston till 6 p.m. before he drives back to Mandeville. The man says he's still not staying and he's going to drive back to Mandeville and leave me there. Imagine. Man said he's not sticking around. I said I'd even take him for some food. I said, can we just catch a meal and then we head to Sabina afterwards? Man said he's not coming. He said there's no meal and no restaurant, nothing I can take him to that will convince him to then come to the cricket afterwards. Right. Anyways, Warwican is back on Bowles' 10th over of the day. Oh, has he nicked him? Has he nicked him? What's this now? What's occurred here? Head was on the loose drive outside the off stump. They ain't reviewing that. Everybody went up, but what did he hit then? What was everyone appealing for? Or were they just excited because of the full shot? Warwican had gone around the wicket to Head. Oh, hold on, was that an inside edge? Or did it just hit pad? Was that inside edge onto pad, or am I just seeing things? Defended this time by Head, no run. You can see the effects of the lights now, you know. And that is actually stumps. And we go to dinner. Australia 138 for 3. I need to see that delivery again. Did that hit inside edge onto pad? Was I seeing things there? Or was it just pad straight through to Hope? Anyways, end of the session. End of the session. It's been slow going today. Australia 138 for 3 at the end of the second session. Smith on 36. Head on 3. Park says it was just pad. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see another replay of it. Errol says, he's back. Errol said that he thought it clipped the bat onto pad. So this session, we had 27 overs bowled, 2 wickets, 88 runs. In the first session, for those who don't know, we had 25 overs bowled, 50 runs, 1 wicket. So the Australians have upped the run rate, but they've lost 2 wickets. Constas was the first to go. LBW bowled Grays for 17. And that took us to 50 for 1 at the first session. Then in the second session, Khawaja went, bowled number 70, brilliant one-handed diving catch by Hope. And then just before the close of play, Starboy bowled Cam Green for 46. It's been a very turgid affair today. Jaden Seals, 11 overs, 1 for 24. Number 70, 12 overs, 1 for 21. Alzari, 7 overs. It's gone off my screen. It's been a very, very turgid day today. It is not a pitch to score fluently, per se. You definitely have to work for your runs. The pink ball has definitely offered something every single minute of this test so far in terms of nipping off the wicket, movement in the air. West Indies will probably, it's a weird one for West Indies because on one hand, they'll be like, we're at the end of the second session and Australia have only made 138 runs. But on the flip side, they'll be like, there's been so many balls that have beaten the outside edge that have failed to kiss the bat. And they'll be worried because Australia will bowl much tighter, more disciplined lines than us. And at various points as well, some of the bowlers have sprayed balls down the leg side or not challenged the stumps enough. That doesn't mean they've bowled badly, but I think they may end up looking back at this going, could we have had Australia could we have been in an even more advantageous position than where we are now? Khawaja did a lot of the hard work. Yes, he only made 23, but he saw off 95 balls. And because 97 balls, I think it might have been. And because he did that, it now means that the work has become easier for the likes of Smith, Head, Webster, Carey, who are their main batters still to come. You definitely have to try and see off this pink ball inside the first 30 overs. Just as well, we got rid of Brathwaite and brought in Louis, who likes to see ball, hit ball, similar to John Campbell. But I don't know if this is the type of wicket or type of test match, it being day-night, to play that expansively. It's going to be very interesting to see in the third session how expansively does Travis Head play. Travis Head only likes to play a certain kind of way. Yes, he can play the grind ball innings, but he likes to counter-attack. And if he gets away with counter-attacking on this wicket, the game's probably done because the West Indian batters are going to be tested severely, re their technique. But we'll see. We'll see. Evenly poised at this stage. Like I say, second session done. We've had 52 overs bowled in the match, and Australia are only 138 for 3. If West Indies could go bang, 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 then that suddenly we're well on top. Right now, because of how Australia are going about the game and how they're obviously willing to take their time, play the ball on its merits, and go as deep as possible, you'd say it's even Stevens. Normally, you wouldn't say that if at the end of a second session something was 138 for 3. But right now, I think it's even Stevens, given how the situation has unfolded. But we'll see how it goes in the third session. It's currently midnight or 5 minutes to midnight in the UK. I've done the first 2 sessions. Can I stay up for the third? We shall see. Listen, people, thank you to anyone who's joined me on the live for this second session. Maybe tomorrow. This was an experiment to see how it went. Maybe tomorrow we'll end up doing more. Maybe I'll start with the first session and do the second session. I don't know, but thank you for joining me for this one. Like, share, subscribe on the way out as usual. I'll be Machel St. Patrick here at One Half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Thank you. Hold on. No, not thank you and good night. Let me take this off the screen. There we go. That's better. Thank you and good night.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.